What's up, guys? Welcome back to Street Sense. This is the 11th episode of our podcast, the Gabfest. Now, quickly talking about the topic of the day, we personally believe that it's super important for all of us to know about these two very specific silhouettes. Not to say that any other topic we pick and choose is irrelevant. Everything has an importance of its own, but for these two very specific silhouettes, which are the Nike Dunks and the SBs, it's really important for all of us to know the difference. Why? Because Nike has been pushing these two silhouettes very heavily in today's market and bringing back a lot of retros also, which are expected to drop in super near future. And there have been some newer colorways and newer collabs that have dropped. So specifically for the new age sneakerheads, or basically the people who have like who have become a part of this culture, in very recent past, it's very important for all you guys to know about it, and each and everyone else also, because even me, say about an year ago, was super confused about these two silhouettes, and until say about 4 or 5 months ago, I actually thought that Dunks and the SB Dunks are same, right? So I would confess that, but it's always about educating your own self again and again and learning more about the culture and the silhouettes, and that's exactly what we are here to talk about, guys. But of course, before we move ahead with that, let's talk about the drip of the day, guys. So this is a basic t-shirt from H&M. Nothing super special about it. Also, there have been a lot of you guys who have actually asked me personally also, and through the DMs of Street Sense also, that why is it that I rock like just basics only and just like plain ass block t-shirts only. So if you guys don't really know, but aesthetically this is like my thing. So from the front it looks like a very minimalistic sort of a t-shirt, but at the back it has like a big ass printed like the entire back. So you guys actually can't see that, because of the angles, but yeah. So that's like sort of my aesthetics, that I like a minimalistic feel from the front if I'm talking to someone or if I'm connecting with someone, but from the back, if someone sees me or is like probably expecting some girls also to check me out, so it gives more like a vibrant kind of a feel, right? So that's like a sort of my personal aesthetics. And likewise, if you guys want to know, so that's like probably one of the reasons why I like ASSEs more. Like if we talk about the hyped up brands, I like ASSE more. I like Off-White more than Supremes, because with Supremes it's like it has its own sort of an importance, its own sort of a value attached to it, but it's super minimalistic, which is like just a plain box logo, right? And it works for a lot of people, but personally for me, I would prefer an Off-White or an ASSE more than Supreme. So that's like me, right? So that's that. So this is a plain basic t-shirt with a back printed thing from H&M, and these pants, these are camo pants from Aeropostale actually. I love the brand, man, and I personally believe that the stuff that they use is super amazing, and it's not like even priced super heavily. It's like decently priced. So I would actually ask all you guys to check the brand out, and just have a look as to if there's something that Aeropostale has to offer to all you guys, because I personally love the stuff, and even the look and feel of the basics also is like kind of amazing, and in ways it stands out. Maybe not, through the naked eye you'd be able to understand it, but once you wear it, it's super comfortable, guys. So Aeropostale, H&M, camo, plain black t-shirt. That's just about it, guys. Now, quickly moving towards the topic of the day. Before we head over to the basic differences as to what's the difference between an SB and a dunk, let's just have like a brief history lesson as to when they were launched, and how they got the attention of most of the sneakerheads. So dunks were basically launched in 1985, and SBs were launched in 1998, right? So about 15 years, not really 15, 13 years to be precise, 13 years difference as to when they were launched. So as the term also says, dunks is basically a term which we use in basketball. So these specific pairs were actually made for basketball players for courts specifically. And if you guys can actually see, the high dunks are very similar to the Air Jordan ones. And back in the day, I also used to get confused as to what's the basic difference, between an Air Jordan one and a dunk also. So if you guys probably want to know, we can make a video on that too. That's a nice idea though. But yeah, talking about it for the day, uh, dunks were made for the court, and every now and then you could find like at least, if there are about 15 people or 20 people on a court, you would find at least 5 to 7 people were rocking dunks. Why? Because these were specifically made for that purpose only, which was hoops, which was the court, right? And that was the whole idea behind these pairs. And that happened. But as soon as they hit 90s, which was like about 5 years after the first few pairs of dunks were launched, which was in 85, they started retroing down the previous drops. So that's something that caught the attention of a lot of people. And if you guys know about this concept, retro is basically a colorway which was probably dropped back in the day at some point in time, and has like a restock happening of that same exact colorway, right? So it's like basically restocks of an older colorway only, and that's what the whole concept is termed as retroing it down. So that's when we say that retro OG or high retro OG with Air Jordan ones and etc etc. So in 90s, after 5 years, they retro down a few of the colorways, and that's what caught the attention of a lot of people, because that's what gets more and more value also attached with those specific pairs, right? That's basically how our culture works. That happened. But at the same time, what Nike was doing was Nike was trying, to move around in other domains as well, and not just stick with basketball. So they were trying to enter the football space as well, not just American football, but soccer also, as we say it. They were trying to enter the football space also and other spaces too. And likewise, there were things happening for the skateboarding community too. But it was like a trial and an error kind of situation happening here and there, which in most of the cases, until of course, as we said, till 98, it was like an all out failure thing happening for them. But then happened the SBs, and they dropped in 98. And initially, of course, there was not a lot of hype, but eventually in like early 2000s, say about 2 or 3 years after the first drop of SBs, it got the attention of so many people, and it became such a phenomena literally, that there was legitimate stampede happening for every second drop back in the day in like early 2000s. And it won't be like wrong to say that SBs were the pairs which actually you know started up with the concept of, and were the basically the pairs, how this whole hype culture started brewing up, and the whole reselling culture actually started happening. It was all in all SBs, like the Supremes drop, Reagans, Pigeons, Red Lobsters too. So these were a few colorways, the few drops with SBs, which caught the attention of so many people that now whatever we talk about as far as the hyped up pairs or this or that, these were like the OGs, man, of this hype culture, as we say, as we talk about. SBs were the pairs that started this whole culture, that initiated this whole culture. There was no other pair for whom we got to see such a crazy level of a demand, such a crazy level of hype, and literally stampede happening every now and then for every second sort of a drop. This was like in early 2000s. Basically what happened was, um, during the time this whole trial and error thing was happening around, Nike came up with Zoom, and Zoom happened with the Spiridons, right? If you guys don't know about it, that's again a very iconic silhouette. Not a lot of people talk about it. Not a lot of people, you know, uh, are rocking them. Not a lot of people have them. But the OG sneakerheads, if you talk to, of course, Spiridon was again, one silhouette which has a crazy value, and of course, it was the first pair to have the Zoom tech, the Zoom Air unit happened to it. So, it's like again the initiation of a legacy, right? So Zoom happened, and through Zoom they started building up the SBs. So they had Zoom in place, they have Dunks in place, then they merged it all together and came up with SBs. So back in the day, of course, there were like the low pro Bs and the co JPs. So JPs actually stand for Japan, and it was more sort of like an international drops exclusive happening. And for pro Bs, actually there has been a crazy debate about what the B actually stands for, but no one knows about it. But that's that, right? So we would leave the history lesson over there and just quickly come towards the differences. Right, guys? So let's quickly talk about that. SBs basically have the Zoom AirPods, but the regular dunks have like regular foam units, right? So that's basically how they even initiated the whole concept of SBs too, and that's still the case. The second difference would be SBs actually have a padded tongue, right? And dunks, they don't really have a padded tongue. That's like a flat, regular sort of a tongue, right? So why SBs do have a padded tongue? This thing actually helps the pair in two ways. So SBs, as we know, it's for the skateboarding community, and we know how skateboarders rock their sneakers and they beat the hell out of them. So what this does is that even if the laces are kept out loose, it still would give like a firm sort of a comfort and a firm sort of a fit to the person, the padded tongue. And the second thing is, there's no that concept of having a crooked tongue eventually. Also, this is more on the look and feel of the sneaker. So as we all know how harshly the skateboarders actually use sneakers, so there's always a very high chance of having like a crooked tongue and a beaten up toe box and stuff like that. But at least for the tongues, that never comes in as a case. So of course, this is not something that they came up since the beginning itself. In the beginning, they just came up with the Zoom AirPods, but eventually, with time, they kept on experimenting a lot, and they kept on trying and testing on something which already became a phenomena, and hence, eventually, the idea of having a padded tongue came in place, and now it has become like a staple for SBs. The next difference would be the laces, guys. So with SBs, you would normally get like oval and pretty puffy laces, but with dunks, there are like regular flat laces, how we normally have with, the Jordans also, and every second sneaker. So with dunks, there are like flat laces, and with SBs, we have like puffy oval laces. Then next up, of course, there's one more difference, which is like of the boxes, but of course, like box is something which is a part of the packaging bit, and with every new colorway that drops eventually, the brand comes up with a different sort of packaging, this and that. So we won't really talk about that, but since the inception, there have been about 9 different boxes that have come up for SBs, and likewise for dunks also. But I don't really think that there's a point to discuss that too. So that's that, guys. These are the 4 very basic differences between the SBs and the dunks. Personally speaking, I find SBs way more comfortable than the dunks. Why? Because of course they have like proper Zoom AirPods, and dunks are like just regular foam based soles, right? That's that. Also, another thing is, like, if you really want to go forward with dunks, then might as well just invest your money that you probably want to invest in dunks in, say, Air Jordan 1s, because of course they are way more comfortable, and not just way more comfortable, but they are like, personally speaking, I find them more iconic and something that has a very big legacy and history also attached to it. Of course, no denial, like dunks are great, but it's more sort of like a generic basketball sneakers, and of course, as we all know, Jordans are Jordans, man. So, and of course, we can't deny the fact that dunks are super similar to the Air Jordan 1. So, just might as well invest your money in Air Jordan 1s other than dunks. And if it's about SBs and dunks, then specifically when we talk about just the lows, then hands down, man, SBs, they are way, way, way more comfortable. Right, guys? So that's that, guys. And now talking about the main thing, what most of you guys have actually clicked this video for, which is the giveaway. So we, as in Street Sense, have collaborated with a crazy individual and a crazy sneakerhead from Bangalore, Mr. Tej Aditya, and in collaboration with him, we are giving away a Nike SB Air Max Janoski 2 PRM. It's a crazy, crazy hybrid between a Nike SB and an Air Max, guys, and we personally believe that it's one of the most comfortable sneakers, and specifically the SB sneakers available out there, right? So that's that, guys. And for all you guys, it's super easy to get your hands on this one because it's a completely free of cost giveaway. You just got to follow very simple steps and you guys will be a part of this giveaway. The winners will be announced either on Saturday or Sunday, but you got to stay tuned with us over our social media. The very basic steps are you got to hit the subscribe button down there and follow us as in Street Sense and Tej on Instagram, and rest all the steps to be a part of this giveaway are down in the description. Make sure you check that out and hit us up over the DMs on Instagram, and that's pretty much about it, guys. Right, guys, so thank you so very much for tuning in, and this means the world to us. You guys watching our videos and giving your amazing reviews to us through our DMs and through your comments, and this actually means the world to us, guys. Thank you so very much. We are trying to come up with more interesting and crazy sort of content. You guys can hit us up through the comments and through our DMs to let us know as to what all are the sort of topics that you guys actually want us to cover in this podcast. And yeah, that's that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, make sure you hit that like button and enter the giveaway, guys. It's completely free and you guys can get your hands on this beautiful pair, guys, completely for free. Cheers. See you guys super soon, which is going to be tomorrow itself. Take care, stay away from the viruses, and good night.